Hey guys, the Creepypasta here, coming out again with another video. Now, if you're familiar with mine and Duncan's channels, you'll know that we have been very congratulatory to the Pokemon Company for making the Generations cards such good quality in comparison to the Steam Siege sets, which are the other newish set that we're both collecting at the moment. I wanted to do a real comparison video because we've also been saying about the Japanese cards being better quality as well. And for interest's sake, we have one of the Generation 1 cards here as well to compare. One of the Generation 1 cards here to compare as well. So I wanted to make as fair a comparison from my collection as I could as possible. They're obviously out of their sleeves, as you can see, but I wanted to show you how the quality compares, so, and the differences between them too. So, this is a Generation 1 Charizard from base set 1. It's the card feels really solid in your hand. It's a very good, nice feel to it. The holographic bit really pops out. Even after almost 20 years, being 20 years old, this card. The first thing to notice is the yellow is a lot darker than modern cards. And of course these were actually printed by Wizards of the Coast as well, not the Pokemon Company. So that's the first thing to note. There are of course some differences in symbols used, etc. and the general layout of the cards. But it's a very nice feeling card. It doesn't bend too much. That's the earliest card that I have to show you to compare with. Now, fast forward nearly, probably 16, 17 years, we have this one from Steam Siege. It's a holographic as well. Again, it really pops, but you got this sort of rainbow effect when you turn it to the light. So it's a very nice effect. It's a different effect from the one which Wizards of the Coast used. And again, the layout of the card is slightly different. You have the symbol down here, or the denotion of the set. But the card doesn't feel as good quality as, say, a Generation 1. It just doesn't feel quite so solid. It feels a little bit thinner. I'm not sure if we can get a comparison going there. It might be difficult to make out a comparison that way. But it definitely feels thinner. And I think on the camera there it sort of looks thinner as well. Then fast forward to Generations. Now this card, again, it feels closer to the Generation 1 card, although again, not quite as solid. This is a holographic as well, although it has the symbols on the card itself. And differences with Steam Siege, you know, they have this is from Radiant Collection and within Generations, so you have slightly different symbols there. But in terms of layout, etc., it's not too different, really. But it is better quality than the Steam Siege one. I really think it is. It feels better in your hand, but not as good as the Generation 1. I'm not sure if it's any thicker or not. I think it may well be ever so slightly thicker. But then we come to the Japanese cards. Now all the other cards are printed with our version of the Pokemon logo. The Generation 1 is obviously going to be the darkest in colour. The other ones, there is no difference in colour as far as I can see there between these two. The logo is slightly different, ever so slightly. I mean, it's not really too different at all. But obviously they're not printed by the same people, the Generation 1 and the more modern cards, so there are going to be some differences in quality, etc. But this Japanese one here has the Japanese back, which I wish we had this in the English versions because I like it so much better. It's such a lovely looking card, it really is. It's got almost a gold border, this one. This is from the CP6 20th anniversary set, the reprint of Generation 1. Again, the layout is slightly different from Generation 1, and but it does feel like generally a much better quality card than the other ones. So if I had to rank these in quality of card, it would be difficult to... I'll try and do a quick comparison here. Okay, so to rank these in quality of card, in terms of feel and look, I would say that's how they stack up. You got the Steam Siege set here, and Steam Siege, pretty much Fates Collide, all the other ones which I've seen, all the other modern cards I've seen, are pretty much of a muchness. Generations, it is better. It just feels thicker, it feels more solid, feels better. The Japanese one is just lovely, just a much better quality printing. The colours on it are brilliant. And then you get Generation 1, which really stands up as probably, in my opinion, the best printing of cards that there has been. Although maybe the edges are not quite as good as the Japanese ones. And certainly the artwork on the Japanese ones is lovely, especially with the back. So there might be, in terms of the printing of the thing, there might be a little bit better quality of the Japanese ones. But in terms of feel, the Generation 1. So it's difficult to differentiate between, in terms of quality, between the Generation 1 and the Japanese one, because they are different, but they are much of a muchness for quality, I would say, with the Generation 1 cards, English cards, being a little bit more quality, I think, me personally. So that's what I wanted to do, guys. I wanted to show you what I feel about the quality of the cards today. Thank you very much.